Oh, hi! Nice to see everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my sewing room. And I waited a long time to do this video because I wanted to save this tour of my sewing room until I had 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much to my 1,000 subscribers, especially to my first 100, especially to my first subscriber and my cousins and my good friends, my family, who all jumped on board to support me. And thank you to the other 957 people that I don't know. So thank you so much to everybody. So please let me show you around. Don't worry, I got room for all 1,000 of you. Come on in. So this is my room. It's my room, which is such a luxury. I didn't have that until just 2 years ago when we moved into this house. It's a blessing and it's a privilege for sure. But everywhere I've ever lived, I've found a corner to put my sewing machine. If you have to put your sewing machine away and pull it out whenever you want to sew, you're not going to sew very much. And I sew every single day. So having my own room is a dream come true. This room is multifunctional though. It's also my dressing room. And you know what? I highly recommend combining your sewing room and a dressing room. If I'm getting ready in the morning and what I want to put on needs a bit of ironing or needs a button sewn on, it's all there. And so it's worked out great to combine those two. Let me show you around how I keep this space neat, how I keep it organized, and how I fit everything in. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now. So nice to have you on board. So this is the area that I usually am standing at when I'm talking to you on a video. I'm usually standing right there. Hi everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. I'm gonna show you around my sewing room today. So that's usually what I do. But what you don't really ever see on camera is my whole closet here. So I'm just going to give you a quick peek into my closet. On top of my closet, there's a couple baskets of extra bedding because this room also doubles as an extra guest room. We have an air mattress that just fills up this entire floor space. Okay, inside my closet, this is almost entirely things that I've either made or thrifted or upcycled. Some of these you might recognize from past videos, like this one when I redid a plaid shirt, and this one. Remember this was like this crazy tunic thing that I turned into that kind of like kimono style wrap, so I love that. This one I showed my version of a French seam. This one was on a thrift flip too. Remember that one with the beautiful sleeves, and I added a button and that little camisole. I did 3 videos on this camisole with the bias trim, the French seam, and the fine rolled hem. This closet is from IKEA, as is a lot of in fact, almost all the furniture in this room is from IKEA, but this is pretty awesome. Isn't it? I just love this for all my jewelry. I have to say my friend Judy helped me organize this whole room 2 years ago when we first moved into this house. And so, hey Judy, how you doing, honey? So I also have my makeup here because I just spin my sewing chair around and then sit. It's the only time I sit in the morning. In here, oh, that's my unmentionables. We're not going to look in there too close. Yeah, oh, more socks. Judy says I'm not allowed to buy any more socks. I might have broken that rule a couple times over the past couple of years, but I'm trying. And then down here, all my t-shirts. And some of these t-shirts, you know, if you follow my videos, you'll definitely remember the Spider-Man. That's one of my most popular videos. This is my favorite though. It's like the t-shirt I'm wearing, using 2 different t-shirts to make a raglan sleeve shirt. I just love that one. That's so fun, right? I use a vertical fold. I don't roll my t-shirts. I don't like the roll for a t-shirt. So I kind of fold it to the depth of the drawer. So it's kind of like a flat fold like that, so that when I put them in, I can see which t-shirt is which. So I like to keep my t-shirts like that, because isn't that good? I can just see everything. They're not in a stack. I don't like the roll. It doesn't work for t-shirts. It does work for some things, but like my underwear, that's rolled. Okay, moving on. On the other side of the closet, down here, these little baskets are great. This was Judy's idea. So I've got a basket here. Again, I use the vertical fold. This is my basket of like summertime crop pants and shorts, and then in the winter I just swap it out for this basket, which is more like leggings and woolly tights and things like that. So I just swap those 2 baskets back and forth. That works so great. And then above that, I've got all of my long pants folded on these wooden hangers, and any crop pants, which I seem to have a lot of crop pants. Any crop pants that'll fit on these hangers, on the clip hangers. they fit in there perfectly. On the top on this side, this is the jean jacket that I shortened the sleeves of on one video. All thrifted, vintage. This one, I took a big old men's sweater and turned it into a Chanel style cardigan. I made this one in a Chanel style, and I found a bit of ribbon that said Chanel. It must have been to tie up a parcel, so I stuck in the label. This one I made out of all different fabrics, and I had just got my embroidery machine, and so I put different embroideries on there, and I just adore this. This silk was given to me from my sister-in-law from Thailand. Hey Chandra, how you doing, girl? And then I embroidered my little label there. So cute. I love this one. This is where I took the hoodie and combined it with the denim jacket. So nice. Oh, I made this one when bomber jackets were really the thing, and I did not get enough wear out of it, so I can't let it go yet. But that's pretty gorgeous, right? I made like a boyfriend blazer out of this knit, like a knit blazer. That's a good thing. That's comfy. I made this moto jacket, and I love this so much. I keep like weird silky prints. You know, sometimes if I don't think I'd ever make a shirt out of it, I keep it anyway because it makes a good lining. The Chanel jacket also is lined with like some weird, like a floral silky print. Works great as a lining. That's the closet. So this is my cutting table, which I'll show you in a second, but at the far end of it where I can't, like it's sort of like wedged in beside my closet, I love books on fashion. History of fashion, current designers, designers from the past, and so, I mean, and I read them. At least I start reading all of them. This is my only little catch-all bin, and I do not recommend having catch-all bins because when something goes in there, you forget what it is and you never come back to it. You never use it again, and you might as well throw it out. So that is my one and only catch-all bin. These color basic cards, oh, these are nice. These are nice. This is from my friend Tracy, and she does breakthroughcolor.com online. And if you want to learn about color theory, like these are amazing. I learned so much about color from her, and it's so interesting, and she makes it so fun. Breakthroughcolor.com. She's lovely. Thank you, Tracy. These 2 boxes, these are little small samples in our stitched fabric because I'm working on a project that I haven't told you about yet, so there'll be a big announcement. This is an open education resource, like a textbook online that I'm writing with Heather Clark from KPU's Wilson School of Design. So we're making all these little videos with different sewing techniques, which is going to be, I think, super great. So we've been working on that for, oh my gosh, coming up to a year now. So that'll be coming out pretty soon. Give us maybe to the end of the summer, and then I'll tell you all about that. This room was just very personal to me. It's just, if I like it, I don't have to compromise with anybody. I can just have it in my room. And that takes care of this corner. This is my cutting table, and it's from IKEA, and I've got it kind of pressed up against another smaller table to just give me as much length as I can. And my organizing friend Judy, she's amazing with organizing. She's a jewelry designer, evendesign.com. She's amazing. She got beautiful stuff. And so anyway, she gave me this contraption, which I'm supposed to screw these 2 tables together with, like it holds them together. I haven't done that yet, so one day I'll do that. Under the cutting table is where I store my ironing board, and I've got little felt feet on it so that I can pull it out. And so it just slides right out, and then I keep it at this height so that I can iron while I'm sitting. So my chair just wheels right from the sewing machine or serger right over to the ironing board, and that's pretty great, right? So it just slides under when I'm not using it, or it makes the perfect little extra desk for when I'm working on my laptop. So that's pretty great. And then my iron has a little space right down underneath where it fits, and the ironing board just slides right back in there out of the way, which is great for a small room, right? Because again, you do not want to have to put away your ironing board and take it back out again. You're just never going to do it. At least I would. There's where our Roomba lives, and it charges there. That's one of those like robotic things that vacuums up the floor. So that is awesome. That was a gift from my brother-in-law. Thank you, Justin. He gave us that as soon as we got a dog. And that's been very much a lifesaver. And those are all my gift wrap, tissue, things like that. Because the cutting table also, of course, makes a brilliant wrap station. There's just a little stool in my iron lift. Down here, little like ironing tools like my tailor's ham, my spray starch, little basket of like hand sewing projects over there. This in the back corner, that green box there, that was my first sewing kit ever. When I was about 12 years old, I begged my dad to buy that for me. I don't know why a 12-year-old would beg for a weird-looking green sewing box, but I did, and he bought it for me, and it's still special to me, right? So even though I don't really use it that much, it gets the most awkward spot because I want to keep it, but I don't need to access it very much. So in this drawer is everything for my embroidery machine, all my embroidery threads. I got this big bag, like, in the clearance at one of our sewing supply warehouse. This is a flash drive with my embroidery designs on there, the ones that I've like purchased online, and my hoop, and then the manual for the Babylock machine. Beautiful. So that's everything for the embroidery machine. Down here is electronic things. So this is an external hard drive because I have to save my videos, and my little lavalier microphone, which I'm still getting used to how to use it, how to place it. Like sometimes you'll notice that the sound is, it's coming along in my videos, it's coming along, but sometimes you'll hear my hair rub against the mic. Oh, it's driving me a bit crazy. And then I save little bags like this. Like, I am not a hoarder, but I do save some things that are useful because I don't like to be wasteful, but I save little bags like that, and it just keeps all my cords nice and neat. So this is all like electronic kind of gadgety things. As much as I adored my dad, he was a hoarder, and so he kind of accidentally taught me to not be a hoarder. And it's, you know, I kind of get rid of stuff that I am not going to use and that doesn't bring me joy. And so I don't keep a ton. Like, I don't have a ton of buttons and zippers and things like that. I just keep what I think I'm going to use. It's hard sometimes though, right? Like, it's hard to get rid of things that are sentimental, like that sewing box. You know, if it doesn't give me joy when I look at it, if I don't think I'm going to use it, if it's not practical, I'm not going to use it in the next 5 years or so. Like, I wouldn't, even 5 years, like, that's kind of ridiculous to hold on to something because you might use it in the next 5 years. Let it go. I do like labels on bins, and it's important to me that what's in the bin is actually what the label says. So if you labeled some bins a couple of years ago, which is what I did, I just spent the last weekend cleaning up for your visit, and I just went through everything and made sure that what's in it is what the label says. So next projects, and that's not massive, right? It's just a small amount. If I really don't think I'm going to get to it, and if it fills me with dread that, oh yeah, that thing, I really have to do something with that. If it's a feeling of dread, then I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to let it go. Back there, mending, that's a good basket to have because if I've got like white thread on my machine, I'll just check in the mending basket before I start a big project, and I'll just see if there's anything I can mend with my white thread before I change it out. And so I often make myself like check through the mending box before I launch into another big project. So over here, more fashion books. Some of them are really academic. Some of them are boring. But because I teach a university course in textiles too, I want to kind of stay up on the academic literature around fashion. So I do start reading these books. Overdressed, that's a really important book to read. That's a good one. This one, The Lost Art of Dress, I really like that one too. Okay, and over here, a box of interfacing. This is my softbox light that helps me to just light up this cutting table. This is where my laptop sits when I'm filming. Like when I'm talking to the camera, I film with my laptop, and underneath there is the big mess of things that these are kind of current projects that I'm working on a couple of pairs of white pants right now, thinking about these plaid shirts. There's another pair of skinny jeans that I want to overhaul. I don't let this get too out of control though. I don't want to have like a massive amount of stuff that is telling me I gotta do something with it, right? I don't like that to get too big and overwhelming. So yeah, my dad was a hoarder, and so in his house was a ton of crap, but also treasures. And so my brother and I, after my dad passed away, which was 30 years ago, like almost to the day, 30 years ago. But my brother and I had to go through his house. So rest in peace, Daddy. Miss you so much. Okay, that's okay. Don't cry. Don't cry. Anyway, my brother and I went through his house, and there were treasures everywhere, like mixed in with the garbage. And so this lady here, okay, yeah, you see that beautiful lady? She was one of the treasures I got from his house. My dear old mom is still with us, but she doesn't sew anymore. And this was her button box. And it's like an old tobacco box, 55 cents.
but it says Vogue, so I love the fact that it says Vogue, and I love the fact that it was my mother's. It was my mom that taught me how to sew, and so that has sentimental value for sure. My dear friend Esther, hello Esther, how you doing, honey? She gave me all these little Chanel perfumes, and I did use all of Chanel No. 5. I don't actually wear perfume, but it's just so lovely to have because it all says Chanel. It's so chic. These shelves are the Calyx shelves from IKEA. Super handy. So over on this side is where I actually sew. This is my beloved Serger. This Serger is old, but I'm telling you, if you can find a secondhand Kenmore, they're golden. I just love the Serger. It's still perfect. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. If Babylock is listening, one of these days, I want Babylock Victory. That's the one to get. That's the one with like the air puff, you know, how it threads like that. That's the one. And then this is my beauty that you've seen. If you've seen my videos, this is what I sew on. Some of my videos I do film in my classroom, especially if it's something for school, I'll film it there. But when I'm sewing at home, this is my Babylock machine, and the Sofia too. I love this machine. It doubles as an embroidery machine. It sews beautifully. It's just a dream. I love this machine so much. Okay, let's look behind my machines. All of these organizers are all IKEA, right? These bins are great. So I've got my scissors and rotary cutters here, some machine oil. These kind of frames, you remember these? These were popular like 15 years ago when my kids were little. And my kids are big now, but it's personal to me, right? I love everybody in these pictures. And so that's why, even though these frames might not be kind of in style right now, I love how they look in my room here. So they're staying. Here, little cards that people have given me over time. My friend's baby. Hey, Artie, sister from another mister. What do you do with your needles that are threaded and you don't want to just chuck out that thread? It's really handy to have a few threaded needles ready to go. So I just keep those magnets right there, and that's quite handy to have. Don't do this though if you have a cat, because your cat will eat the thread, get all the way up to the needle, and that does not end well for the cat. Oh, a makeup brush, best thing to clean off your machines, and even right inside your serger, a makeup brush is super handy. A tape measure and like some officey things, a few paper clips, not many. I don't want to have many cluttering up my space. And then a Sharpie, and of course my beloved friction pens. Little tiny scissors that I use all the time, snipping threads at the machine or at the ironing board. A few notepads for jotting down ideas, and just a few, you gotta have a chopstick in your sewing room for turning tubes. That's a good thing to have. And of course you have to have a sewing gauge, that's handy. This light is great. I mean, it lights up behind my machine for when I'm filming, and it makes it look a little bit brighter. But up in here, it's a magnifying lamp. So those are great to have. $25 from Lee Valley Hardware, not too expensive. Underneath the sewing table is just a garbage can, and then for paper recycling there. What helps me to stay organized is down to the tiniest detail. So this is my pin magnet. The rule for me is only pins go on the pin magnet. Not needles, not safety pins, nothing but pins. When I reach for that, I just want to grab a pin. I have zero tolerance for anything that's not a functional pin there. I usually have a cup of tea. I was getting all of these like tea stains all over my white table. So when I was making these jeans, I had all of this thread from my jeans, and so I just put it under the machine and sewed all over it to make a coaster so that I don't get tea stains all over my desk. One thing you might notice that I don't have in here is a carpet. Even though I think it would look really pretty, if you drop a pin onto a hardwood floor, you can step right on that and not hurt yourself. But if you drop it onto a carpet, it could be standing straight up. And so that's the only time I've ever had a problem with pins is on a carpet. So no carpet in a sewing room. The drawers to the left of my machines, these are, again, I keep. So bobbins, I like to have lots of bobbins because I only ever put one color on each bobbin, never like layer another color on top. Is such a bad habit. You need a lot of bobbins. Like I've got 2 containers, but you don't need more bobbins than actually fit in your containers. The plastic ones are better for my machine because the machine will tell me when I'm running low on thread if the bobbin is plastic, but if the bobbin is metal, it won't tell me anything, and so I sometimes run out of bobbin thread without knowing it. So I'm switching over to the plastic. Big bin of safety pins back here, and some of those little clips. I don't have a lot of those, but some. And then this is all my machine needles. And my favorite Clover seam ripper. This is like a few other machine parts. So basically, the top drawer is everything I need for actual sewing. The second drawer
When I'm sewing, it drives me crazy if I have like a little hangnail or something that's catching on fabric. I don't do a manicure really ever because my hands are tools. They really are working hard all day, but I want them to look somewhat decent when I've got them on camera. So I keep a drawer of hand lotion, the nail files, some chapstick, a hair tie because my hair sometimes gets caught on film too, which doesn't look the greatest, so I should, let's just put a scrunchie on. And then my new sewing friend, Amy at, her YouTube channel is called Your Sewing Teacher. She suggested these alcohol swabs for wiping off needles that got all gluey when I was making the Pride banner and it was all the sequins. So thanks, Amy. Nice to meet you. A set of tools. These were left behind by my lovely niece and her boyfriend. Thank you so much, Sam and Tristan. How are you guys doing? We miss you so much. But a set of tools of your own is such a good idea because I can't even find a hammer like in my husband's workshop. I can't find anything. So I'm so happy to have my own set of tools. I also am so happy to have my own box of chocolates hidden away in my drawer here because otherwise those would have been eaten up in a day with my two sons. So I keep my own chocolate in there. And then a little bit more down here, just a little energy snack there. Some colored Sharpies, a little tiny cutting mat, tissue. And then these are all my buttons. Hooks and eyes here too, like skirt hooks. And they each have their own little drawer separated by colors. So those are all covered buttons, odds and ends there. Silver covered buttons. More buttons down here, and again, like divided up by color. So that's it for the drawers. To the left of my machines, this bin is all trim. And then if I have a large category of stuff in the trim, so then I'll bag it up separate. So that's why I save these kind of plastic bags. This is all polypropylene webbing, like little bits of it, which can be really handy. Like I don't like to chuck out stuff like that. It can be really handy. A bag of just piping and cord, beaded trim. The labels have to be accurate. The labels have to actually clearly define what's in there or else this system falls apart. This is actually stuff that is not categorizable. It's just funny little things that are going to come in handy one of these days that I just don't have a category for. This is all Velcro and closures like snap tape, mainly Velcro. And then this one is all elastic, which I don't have a lot, right? But not a lot of elastic. But it is good to have like one kind of big thing, just so you know you have it. Then a box of ribbon and lace. And you notice I don't have those big square bins that fit in here perfectly because I actually like to be able to see it, and I kind of like these red bins better. I did get them from IKEA but years ago, and so I like them better. Even though they are smaller, that's fine with me. I don't want to have huge bins where I can't see everything. My cone threads are here. I want to obviously be able to see and grab cone threads and not have to pull out a big bin. More cone threads here, and this is mainly what I use. It's just so much more economical and they last a long time. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see a downside, honestly. When my mom stopped sewing, she gave me all her threads and she had them in these bins. I've got those organized in cool colors and then the warm colors. And then these smaller containers, I've just got the more the neutral beige, gray, black, white. So it is nice just to have like every color under the rainbow. Look at that, more fashion books. Yay, more fashion books. So I don't have a storage problem for a ton of patterns because I just don't keep a lot. I don't actually use a lot of patterns. Like I generally draft my own, or I do more upcycling and thrifting, so I don't have a lot of patterns. So this is one box of patterns, but this is most of my patterns. That's the pattern from the moto jacket that I showed you. Yeah, so this is Style Arc, the Ziggy biker jacket. That was a good pattern. This one I got from Style Arc too. I'll show you that cardigan made up. I made that up in white. It came out nice. And there's another Style Arc top that I made. It's quite interesting. It probably won't look like much on the hanger, but it's got some interesting details. Then at the top of this shelf, more fashion books, some Threads magazines,
If you don't already subscribe to Threads magazine, oh my gosh, yes, you must.
So tucked away in this small corner here, I've got a speaker so that when I am sewing and not recording, I can just put on my Spotify playlist and enjoy that. And then right in the corner there, see that Christmas wrap? That is my sewing friend Alicia. I don't actually personally know her, but I think she's wonderful. Alicia at Thoughtful Creativity. That was her suggestion for pattern drafting paper, is wrapping paper. So I keep that in there, but I've also got some of the brown hard paper, which I like to use as well. Coming around the corner from there, I made this video for my wall art there, my rainbow heart. I love that. That's a little painting that my dad did, and another of the little treasures from his house, this little book stand. And then let's look in these drawers. This old dresser is one of the only pieces in here that's not from IKEA. It's an old antique. I bought it years and years and years ago for $17, and it was white, and I stripped it down. And now probably the trend would be more to paint it white, but at the time, and I still do like the warm wood color. It kind of like gives a little bit of life to all the white IKEA stuff. So in here, again, a place for everything and everything in its place. This whole front drawer is all chalk and marking wax, different types of marking things. Back here, some snips and seam rippers and sewing gauges. Screwdrivers and different tools like that, including like an eyeglass tool kit. So those little screwdrivers are handy. This is all my hand sewing needles, more safety pins. I have too many safety pins. So hand sewing needles and a couple thimbles, including my leather thimble that my darling mother-in-law gave me. And including, this is just like, I don't know, it's a baby thimble that, again, I found at my dad's house. I don't know why he had it, but I just thought it was so sweet. Sometimes the sentimental stuff you gotta keep anyway. These are a couple of just ready to go like travel kits that I can just throw into a suitcase with like hand sewing needles, mixture of thread. Sometimes I'll just put in a few bobbins. Even this little lint brush, that's pretty handy for travel. And even a few pins. Quick and easy to throw into a suitcase if I want to do some hand sewing or something if we're away. And then once in a while I'll just tuck in something to make me smile. This is a note from my kids from years ago to Mom. Max was skateboarding in the house. Like, that just cracks me up. So I could just tuck that in there just to make myself smile. Next drawer down. This drawer is getting a little less sewing. This is all jewelry stuff. Sometimes I like to make beaded bracelets and things like that. It makes beautiful gifts. And then this is all broken jewelry that I've got to get my dear friend Judy to look at for me. That's for the beaded bracelets that I make. This I wanted to show you though. This pincushion, my grandmother made for my mother. And so now I'm third generation, and I just keep it for sentimental reasons. It's quite sweet. Oh, this is like just a place I tuck away little like hostess gifts, or if we have friends over that have little kids, like it's kind of nice to have little toys around that they could have. So just a little like gifty section there. Now I get into my fabrics. So I don't keep a ton of fabrics here, and I'll explain why. But these are just pieces that I just love, and one day I want to do something with. I save these little like silica gel packages, and I just tuck them in with my fabrics, as well as a few like cedar balls, just to keep them clean and fresh. So there's just 3 drawers of fabrics, that's it. And I try to keep them, that's another little cedar thing. It's not a lot though, right? It's not a ton of fabric that I'm saving. I tried to kind of go by type and color. No, I don't keep a lot of fabrics. I just don't want fabrics to be sitting here not going to use. They're beautiful. If I think I'm going to use it, or if I just love it too much, I'll hold on to it for a while. But after a while, I want them to be used. And so I will donate them to my own classroom. So I think that donating your fabrics to a school is such a great thing. If you have a school anywhere in your area that has like a fashion or textiles or sewing program, ask them if they would accept fabrics from you, and I bet they will jump for joy. I accept all donations at my school. I always appreciate it because, you know, my students, they'll use it up, and it's so much better to have them use it than have it just sit in a drawer somewhere. You can even just give it to a thrift store, right? I've bought a lot of fun pieces of fabric at thrift stores, and that's a great way to give them to somebody who will use it. So yeah, that's why I don't store a lot of fabrics or patterns. I want my room to say to me like, hey, what do you want to do today? Not say, you better do this and you better do that. So yeah, I don't keep a lot of stuff. Good, so coming around the corner, there's the rest of my closet. So here I've got all like longer things, sweaters together, and then skirts, and then long dresses way back there. And then these are a few more things that I want to upcycle at some point. You'll probably see these in an upcoming video. And then these are slopers that fit me, or they fit me in 2017 anyway. We'll see if they still fit me. And then I did want to show you these two bins. This one is for textiles recycling. I hope you have that in your area. It's pretty great now where I can just bring in like super scrappy bits of fabric into our bottle depot and they will recycle textiles. So I've been doing that. And then this bin is for anything like a garment or something that I can donate to a thrift store. I just took a carload in yesterday, and so that's why this one's empty, but that's where my donations go. Back here, this is some like semi-abandoned projects that I might come back to, and I'm just not quite ready to get rid of them. But I wanted to show you this. I do save these packages from bedding and things like that because they're nice heavy plastic, and a lot of those projects might have pins in them, so it's kind of good to have that protective layer, but I can still see through it. So I do like those packages. Good, and then coming back around to the door that you entered through, this is my place where I keep my rulers, and this was maybe my second or third video that I made. I showed how to make a ruler organizer like that, and I use it every single day. It just hangs off these hooks here and super easy. So that was actually a pretty good project idea. So the basic rule for me in terms of how I keep my room clean, and you know what, I did do some extra organizing for you. Like right now, it's in a state of perfection. I have to say I'm pretty happy with everything, but normally it's still pretty good. And you know why? The reason why this space works for me so well is because there is a place for everything and everything in its place. Whenever I'm sorting through things, I know exactly where everything goes because everything has a place. Do you ever clean up and then you can't find anything? It's because you don't have that basic structure in place. That's really, really important to designate places for everything and categorize things and have your categories well defined. So that labels on bins are actually what's in there. The label does you no good if what's in there isn't what it says it is. It just makes the maintenance so much easier. I went to a workshop of organization, and this organizing coach said that organization was kind of like physical fitness. You don't just do it once and then say, okay, I'm done my fitness now, right? You have to maintain it and you have to keep it up. This is my happy place and it's got to work well for me. I don't have tons of time, so I need to be able to walk in here, get to the project I want to do, and find the tools and the materials that I need to do it with. So it has to be super functional. So that's how I do it. I love my room and I hope that you enjoyed having a tour of it. I'm so thankful that you came around for the tour, and I'm so happy to have you as part of my 1,000 subscribers. So that does it for today's video. Thanks again, and until next time, you take care.